G'day everyone, welcome to That Other Show. So this early in 2019, it is with a heavy heart that I can already say that this year is the year of the low review scores from people who are even yet to play the bloody game they're reviewing. After the launch of Crackdown III and Anthem, it's clear that many gamers are happy to shoot first and ask questions later. So with that in mind, let's get this show on the road. Get yourself ready for some ranting and raving about people spouting their opinions all over the place with an absolute disregard for other people's opinions. So turn that volume down a little bit this time, light that cigar, swish your whiskey of choice, and enjoy the tunes of this royalty-free music that I downloaded from somewhere on the internet. Cue the music. This is episode 11 of That Other Show, and today is Sunday, the 24th of February 2019. I am your host, Lucas, and here with me is a hubris that has been shaken by today's general public and users of social media. During this show, I'll be talking about the following: Anthem, Crackdown III, Apex Legends, the Aussie Gamers Experience podcast, and Greggio's reasonable attitude towards Apex and Battle Royale games in general. We'll also do that other description, so let's get onto the show. Right, first up, Anthem. Alright, well, Anthem has released a couple of days ago. Well, for me anyway, because I didn't get in early with that premium EA access or EA Origin access rubbish, which I don't think is a good idea, but that's beside the point, not what I'm talking about today. Anthem is, was something that I was really looking forward to. I did play the VIP demo. I also played in the open public demo that was available a couple of weeks before the game launched, and I was really excited for it. I like the look of it. I like the feel of it. I like the idea of flying around in these sort of exoskeleton mech suits. It just looks good and feels good, and it's just a fun thing to do, which is, I guess, what video games are supposed to be. So I enjoyed the demos, and I've been playing Anthem for a couple of nights now, and I'm impressed. I'm happy with it. I've had, on the first night, on the 22nd, so the night that it launched fully to everybody that bought the game, I had an instance of the game freezing. I didn't have so much issues with, say, disconnections or anything like that, but I had kind of a little bit of network problems, but it was nothing major. So I had basically 2 instances where the game broke on that night. Other than that, though, it worked fine. Then on the second night, I don't recall any issues whatsoever. And then on the third day, playing it through the day, which was today, I've had no issues. No issues whatsoever. The game is playing really well. It's going really smooth. Yeah, there are some frame drops, and just FYI, I'm playing it on an Xbox One X. There are some frame drops, but I guess you're going to get that when you're playing in 4K, and I think the game dynamically drops resolution down from 4K to maybe 1440 on the X. And I believe on your S and your OG Xboxes, I think they're punching out 900p and possibly even dropping down lower dynamically. I'm not too sure about that. I haven't played it on an S just yet. But anyway, the game has been, pretty close to flawless. I have played online games like this before where launch was a disaster. I do remember Black Ops 3 because it had co-op. That was rubbish. That just didn't work sometimes at all. But Anthem has been working really well. So I've got to put aside all the complaints about connectivity. Yeah, I guess some people are having issues with connectivity. Either I'm lucky and I'm playing it at times where the servers are running well, or they're not overloaded or something like that. But I'm actually pretty happy with how it's performing. Now, the game itself, I'm hearing a lot of people who have finished the story complaining about content, saying that there's not much story there, there's not much content, and in the end game, it's not great fun. Now, I'm not going to debunk that because I haven't finished the story, but I have been running around doing story missions, doing side missions, doing, what are they called? They're like strikes. They're strongholds. I've been doing stronghold missions, which are actually really challenging and fun. And I'm finding the content to be, it's there. But, early days for me, I haven't finished it or anything like that, so I won't complain about anyone saying those things. But there are a couple of things that are annoying me, and they're no different to every single game in this genre. And that's when you start the game, the ridiculous amount of requirements that you need to, all the hoops you need to jump through before the game will allow you to play with your friends. It was frustrating. I tried to play with Snoogs last night, but he hadn't gotten far enough to allow him to join other people's games. And for someone like Snoogs, his heart's not in it. I don't think he really wants to play it. He's giving it a go for the sake of trying it. But it's these little things that sort of mar those experiences where he can't even get into a game to play with his mates. Cheers Azrael, I've been playing with her the last few nights, and it's been great. I just wish that these games, they advertise them as online shooters or online games where you can play with up to 3 other friends and all that sort of stuff. I understand locking out for a small tutorial, but when it takes hours to play through before you can actually join up with a friend, that's just shit design, if you ask me. That is really, really annoying. What else? There are other things that are annoying me. When you're playing missions. Now, the game always, it's like a shitty used car salesman. It is always trying to talk you into playing in a public lobby. So when you do a mission, it'll automatically default to public. And if you change it to private because you just want to go through it on your own, at your own pace, it's just propaganda. It pops up on your screen. Oh, you really should be playing this in public. No, piss off. I don't want to. And the main reason why I don't want to play it with matchmaking, and I said this last night, I take back every bad word I said about Destiny for not having matchmaking for the missions, because you'll load in and, the other people, for whatever reason, their system loads faster or their internet ping is better and they load in quicker. They all have to speed run the goddamn level, and they're already up to the next marker and flying through the level. They've done the first bloody objective already, and then the game will come up with a message on the screen saying you're outside the game area, like the area that you need to be in or whatever. You're about to be teleported, and then it'll load for like a couple of seconds. It's a pretty quick load because you're not sort of being teleported too far. But that stuff breaks the game. That breaks the immersion. If there's any conversation that's going on when that happens, you're teleported and you miss it. I hate that. That's rubbish. So when I'm doing the story mode stuff, I either just do it on my own or I do it with a friend, and we do it at our own pace rather than, I don't know, why do randoms always have to just like hit the ground and run, and they just have to speed run everything? Nobody sticks together. I think it sucks. But anyway, there are a couple of things that are really pissing me off. I will be putting together a review once I've played a little bit more of the game and can have more of a well-informed opinion on it. But anyway, that's Anthem in a nutshell. I've taken up too much of the show already, nearly half of it talking about this. So let's quickly move on to the next one. All right, so Crackdown 3 is... I'm not going to talk too much about the game in particular. It's I've already done that a couple of times. And there is a full review that I've put up on the Aussie Gamers Experience YouTube channel. But what I wanted to mention here is that there are too many people out there that just have to go around on social media and just blasting a game that they think is rubbish. And they haven't even played the game. A lot of people that see there's comments. If you go to the Crackdown 3 review on our YouTube channel, there's a lot of comments on there by people saying, absolute rubbish game, 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 or whatever they want to give it, not buying this game. So hang on a minute. You're saying it's rubbish and you're not buying the game. That to me says that you haven't played the game. How is your opinion valid. Okay, all right, have your own opinion. That's fine. No worries. But why be a troll and then just go saying that, you're a fanboy for saying that it's anything but rubbish? You think it's rubbish, haven't played it. Someone else that's played it says they like it and they're having fun with it. Oh, my God, social media we need to pay a fee. We need social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They need to start charging a nominal fee, $5 a month or something like that, to weed out these stupid children that are getting on and just starting internet fights. I don't usually subscribe to them. I usually don't get involved in that sort of rubbish, but I see it and I think, oh, geez, you're a massive tool. But anyway, so if you are one of those people out there, I would suggest that most people that listen to me are level-headed and aren't just grade A trolls, except for Kazakal. He's a troll, but there's always an exception to the rule. I like you, Kaza. Good on you, buddy. But yeah, so that's the sort of stuff that's doing my head in with social media. It's just things have gone to shit, and people are just going on there and saying stuff is rubbish without even having experienced it. People are poo-pooing Anthem as well and saying that Anthem is shit. It's absolute rubbish and EA have ruined it. God, have you played it? It's actually fun to play. How do you not enjoy flying with jetpacks that you can cool with water and all that sort of stuff and shooting stuff? Oh, gotta say, the sound effects in Anthem, oh, so good. All right, I'm digressing again. We'll stay on the path. But anyway, no, let's finish the path later. Let's move on. All right, Apex Legends. Now, Apex Legends is another EA game, which is made by Respawn Interactive, the people that made Titanfall, and is a pretty popular battle royale game at the moment. And now, look, although I'm not very good at it, I have won one game though. I am pretty happy with winning that, considering I never ever got a chicken dinner, and I played that a lot more than I've played Apex so far. I'm talking about PUBG. But I also wanted to allude to the latest episode of the Aussie Gamers Experience podcast, and there's a section in it where Greggio talks about Apex Legends, and this is a perfect example of how to critique, or not necessarily critique, that may not be the best word, but how to describe your feelings when it comes to a game that you don't enjoy. Now, what Greggio went through to say, and you can go and listen to that to hear it exactly out of his words, I'm obviously going to paraphrase, but I don't like Apex Legends. But I don't like battle royales in general. They're not my thing. They're not my jam. I'm not very good at them. And for that reason, I don't really have much fun. And for that reason, I'll take a pass on Apex Legends. And that's Greggio's explanation in a nutshell, I guess. And I guess people can take a leaf out of that style because that's a reasonable thing to say. I don't really like games like, I'm not a big fan of RPG games like Skyrim with a fantasy style to it. You know, there are some exceptions to the rule with games I do like that are based on fantasy, but I'm not a big fan of it. You know, it's just not my thing. I prefer, say, sci-fi or modern realistic combat. But I'm not going to go out saying Skyrim's a piece of shit, but I don't really like it, and I don't like it for my reasons. So people can, if more people in social media could maybe put their point across by saying, nah, not really a big fan of Anthem, or not really a big fan of Crackdown 3 because it feels like a game from last generation, and it doesn't appeal to me for that reason. There are a lot of people that do love that stuff, and telling them that they're wrong or just a fanboy because they enjoy it, now you're just being an asshole. That's what that is. That's just assholeness. Sons of bitches. Anyway, I told you to turn your volumes down, and I told you it was going to be a red. You were forewarned. But if you're still listening though, cheers. All right, let's move on to the next bit. Alrighty, time for that other description. Now, if you don't know, this is a game where I'm going to read out a description for a game, but I'm going to omit crucial details, and you as the listener have to work out what that game is. And if you know it, then go across to our Discord channel. There is a link in the show notes below and put the answer in there somewhere that we'll see it. And if you're right, I'll tell you. All right, so let's get going on this one. The player is initially presented with a grid of undifferentiated squares. Some randomly selected squares, unknown to the player, are designated to contain certain objects of death. Typically, the size of the grid and the number of items are set in advance by the user, and this is either by entering the numbers or selecting from defined skill levels, depending on the implementations. That one could be easy, might be a little bit trickier than normal. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see who works out that other description. All right, well, we're running a little bit short. I probably could have ranted for a little bit longer, but oh well. Let's move on. Okay, now, first things first, I want to ask you all, please, if you could leave us a review on the Aussie Gamers Experience website. Go to www.theagexp.com and there's a link in there where you can leave us a review. There is a link in the description to just go straight to the review. Please, if you can go and leave us a review, 5 stars would be great, but oh well, you know, if it's not 5 stars, then tough luck to us. But, or you could always tell us why we didn't get 5 stars. But yeah, we'd really appreciate that. We want to get some feedback and see what our listeners and viewers and all that sort of stuff are thinking of our content. Mind you, if you do have any suggestions for content, then please give it to us. Either head on to our Discord, put a comment on our YouTube videos, or wherever you find our content. Alright, well that's it for this episode of That Other Show. If there isn't enough content in this show, then you absolutely need to go and check out the Aussie Gamers Experience video game podcast, which is hosted by Snoogs, Ramutha, and Greggio. You can check out the links for that show in the description and show notes. You can also just search for the Aussie Gamers Experience on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and a ton more. My God, there are links everywhere that you can think of. And yes, down in the description below, there are some. I'm early. We've still got like 2 minutes to go before our typical time's up. And my timer is at 18 minutes right now. But it doesn't necessarily mean 18 minutes because I need to delete parts out of the show that I've stuffed up, which are still currently on this file but won't be there when you're listening to this. So that oh God, I need to go get some rest. I need a nap. That's what I need. All right, as always, I am Lucas, and until next time, I will see you.